at Goodwill. I bought this, you weren't expecting me to whip out a table, but this wonderful little candle stand.
There's an old curiosity shop. Every once in a while I go by there for the fond recollections that lie there in that old curiosity shop.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Scott, welcoming you to another edition of the Old Curiosity Shop. This is going to be about another 30-minute video because I've got lots of things to show you. Some for sale, some I'm going to keep, and a big surprise from last weekend's flea market. But before we begin, today's cup of coffee is brought to you by...
A cup of coffee, a sandwich, and you, a cozy corner, a table for two.
That's right. Not the famous blue willow pattern. How about the brown willow pattern? I've never seen it in brown until this example. Well, that's the blue willow design, as we're all familiar with. You can't be a collector of vintage or antiques without knowing blue willow. That's it. Okay, in brown. There's a Japan stamp on the back, and this is nice porcelain with a nice glaze on it. Oop, get it back in the frame. It is steaming hot. I don't know if you can see that. Take my spoon out. And I think it's attractive in brown. For the autumn season, maybe? I don't know. What other colors does it come in? I've just always thought it was only blue, but I learn new things every day. Let's have a sip of this, and you have a sip of yours, and we'll get started. I know, no ginger slap. Ginger slap? Woo, what time is it? I promise you, this is just coffee. I rarely imbibe. But I must just be, well, you know, we're right into the, sorry, I'm here. We are hot and heavy into the flea market season, which means I'm up at about 4:30 in the morning, about 5 days a week, and right now it is probably nap time for me, but let's get this video rolling. Why don't we start off with the things that I am selling in the Old Curiosity Shop right now. Most of this you already saw out in the wild, so I'm just going to show it to you very quickly. And once again, the link to the shop is in the description box below, and you'll find better pictures in better lighting with full descriptions, measurements, and all of that, as well as descriptions of the condition. So let's fly through this. I don't think you saw this, but this came from the flea market last weekend. And we all recognize Amberina, sort of the handkerchief style vase or bowl. I guess it's a bowl. Probably made by Viking. I'm pretty certain Viking. And it's in excellent condition. Nice and clean, no chips, no cracks, and it's a nice big one. Yeah. Okay, mid-century folk? No. They didn't call it Amberina. Did they call it persimmon? That's coming to my mind now. Is that right, you 1950s, 60s folk? I'm a 1930s, 40s folk. 20s, 30s, 40s. But I think they referred to this color as persimmon. Anyway, that little thing that looks like an orange. Just ignore everything that I just said because it's probably all wrong. He's up and for sale, cute as he can be. Now you can put whatever you want in there. But remember, I showed you photographs of this the last time, and it was actually manufactured sometimes on a ceramic tray, and they actually printed on there that it was for it's a trinket catch-all for the man's dresser. So I didn't make that up. We saw a picture of it, and it announced on there that you could put your cufflinks, your jewelry, and all that stuff in there. But hey, if you want to put your wallet, your playing cards, the television remote control, your cell phone, or a grilled cheese sandwich in there, have fun. He's as cute as he can be. He is made in Japan. A little, as I said, ceramic donkey. We're not going to go through donkey versus donkey again. But I had some fellow East Coasters who said, "Yeah, I say donkey." Another one. Now that one was clearly a planter. He's got a funny little haircut. Somebody said it looked like his mother gave him a bowl cut. I would be mad. My mother gave me. I have pictures. I'm not going to show them to you. Yes. The bowl on the head, and I'm sure it's the Pyrex bowl she's still making chocolate chip cookies out of right now. A little donkey planter. I said donkey that time. I cleaned it up a little bit so that I didn't sound too jarring to those of you with refined English. Now here are these beautiful crystal salt and pepper shakers, and they are heavy. I mean, I could just, forget going to the gym. I can just do my hand weights like this. They are made of crystal. They were made in Czechoslovakia. Thank you, subscriber friend, who has a set of these with the label still on it. Crystal clear, absolutely beautiful. And the tops here are glass, not plastic. And they screw on and off. I think we did that before. These are up and listed. That's why I'm going quickly through these things. Because you already saw most of them, and I don't think you need to see them. I don't think you need to see them again. The 2 Hazel Atlas mugs are up for sale. Sort of a mustard yellow color and a little turquoise one. Very 1950s. A lot of our grandmothers had these in the kitchen, no doubt. And let's see, this you haven't seen. This came from the flea market, and while I'm on it, when I went, oh, that's thunder. Sorry, we're gonna have another one of those. We're going to have another one of those afternoon storms. While I was at the flea market, I met Alicia and her husband. I want to say Steve. Ooh, I hope I remember it. I remember Alicia because she's bought so many things from me, and we've corresponded back and forth. But Steve. I hope that I remember your name. It was so nice meeting you both. Alicia bought some glass, and I met them in the near the flea market to turn over the glass that she bought. We had a wonderful conversation. I love it when I meet subscriber friends. It's just a delight. I think we stood in the parking lot and talked for a half an hour in front of a J.C. Penney's. Can you believe there's a J.C. Penney's left? Oh, poor old Penney's. This is a Shawnee piece of pottery, and I think it just says USA on the bottom. The light is going to wash out the fact that this is really 1950s pink. I hope that you can see that. And I think they call this the Tiara top for obvious reasons. Very, very Jackson Pollock, if you will, with this sort of splattered paint all over it. That's the way it was made. Jackson Pollock didn't make or design this, but I think, if I remember from Art 101, his designs were popular around the time this was made, with this sort of just splashed on paint. There are no chips on any of these points, and there are no chips, no cracks, no damage on this at all. I really wish the light wasn't washing out. It's more pink in person, but what pink tends to fade away when you get bright light on it. And then I'm also selling, let's see, I currently have 2 green stretch glass, swung glass vases for sale in the old Curiosity Shop. One by Northwood and one by Imperial. Okay, yes. And then I also have just listed these two. I am liquidating a collection of these. I probably have several of, well, I do have several of them, and it's time to sell them. So the two green ones are listed, and now these two are listed. Swung Vases. Beautiful iridescence on this one. And this may look, because of the way the light is reflecting, it might look like it's ribbed here, or there's some type of optic. It's not. There's no embossed pattern. It's completely smooth here. You can see better there. And the base color is amethyst or purple. And this one, well, they're both, of course, in excellent condition. And there is a sort of a little trapped air bubble right there. I know that looks like a ding. It's not. It's completely smooth. The iridescence is over the top of that, and it's just an imperfection in the glass when this one was made. Neither one of these are marked, so I do recognize the bases of these as either being Imperial or perhaps Fenton or North or Dugan. What's the one that's Northwood is usually marked with the N, and I'd have to get out my books to look, but there are no marks on the bottom of these, okay, and everybody imitated each other, so it's one of those 6 or 7 companies that made the Swung glass. Here's a nice ice blue color, is the base color, and this has a quilted diamond pattern on that. You can't see it, I'm putting it too close. I think sort of a quilted diamond pattern on this one in blue. No nasty old dirty water residue on the inside, nice and clean, covered in my fingerprints. And these are both listed for you if you like swung vases. And these swung vases can date from 1910 even up to about 1930, but past that you don't really see them until they become popular again, really in the 50s and 60s, and then all the colors change, as you know. A few pieces of Art Deco that I also just got, and I don't plan on selling, but staying in my own collection. Here's a wonderful cocktail shaker. I love these chrome cocktail shakers with the Bakelite handles. I probably see a chrome cocktail shaker about once a month, but I don't buy every one I see. Some are very common. This is one that's not as common on this little pedestal. They usually go straight down to the table. But you always know it's a cocktail shaker when it has a screw-on lid right here. Sometimes they screw on, not lid, but over the spout, and then sometimes it's just a cap that fits over the top. Here's the lid. I love the Bakelite knob on the top. It looks just like my Philco radio knobs. Not on this Crosley over here, but this is called a bullet knob, and you see these on Philco radios. It sort of looks like a bullet. Can you see that? I really like it. And a Bakelite handle. This is in excellent condition. Why did not, hold on, I'm sorry. I think I got a little cattywampus there. Are we back? I think we're okay now. So this I'm going to keep in really good shape. It's going to go in my deco collection. I am passively putting together a collection of Ritz Blue Hazel Atlas Modern Tone, and which looks really great when you do a table and you do chrome accessories. It is Art Deco to the max. And I don't know how many pieces I have of this now. I'm gonna have to get out and start counting. But there is a 1930s Ritz Blue piece of Hazel Atlas. And then this thing, I love this thing. It looks like Mr. Rumbold's head. Now some of you are going, wait a minute, what is Mr. Rumbold's head? If you watch Are You Being Served, You know what I'm talking about, and you're going to laugh as soon as this comes into view. Does that remind you of Mr. Rumbold? If you're not sure, you can go and look it up. Well, let's put a picture in right there. Are you being served a hilarious Britcom? Poor Mr. Rumbold with those big ears. This is a wonderful sphere, and it is a cookie jar made of ceramic. And if we turn it on this side, we have a wonderful fruit motif. I actually like it this way. I think it looks a little more deco. Here's the wonderful lid on the top, okay, with the red. The damage is on the inside, where some naughty child was stealing cookies. But that's not seen when the lid is on. And I'm most likely going to keep this because I really like how deco it is. There's some staining to the pottery, to the ceramic here, and crazing, of course. And this is by the Pottery Guild. This is called Hostess Ware. I didn't even have a chance to do any research on the Pottery Guild line of Hostess Ware. I haven't seen it before, but I just got this. It's a fresh find. I did. All right, a few more things to show you. And I want to say thank you to a couple of folks who helped me out. I'm still here. Okay. I want to thank the friend subscriber who told me that I knew this was Silvercrest by Fenton, but I didn't know that you call this Spanish lace, and that's what it's called. The Silvercrest is this clear glass here. This pedestal. I actually put this up for sale early this morning and it sold in about an hour. I did a buy it now. So I don't mean to tease you with it, but this did sell. And but I want to thank, I'm trying to remember to thank folks. It's hard, it's so hard to remember everybody. But thank you, subscriber friend, Spanish lace on the cake stand by Fenton. Another subscriber solved a mystery for a lot of us. You saw this a while ago, and a lot of folks noticed that the steering wheel is on the right-hand side of the car. And of course, you folks in England are accustomed to that, but not us in the US. And there may be other countries where the steering wheel is on that side. But I was pretty sure this was taken in the Philadelphia area, but a lot of folks were confused with it, and I didn't even pay any attention to where the steering wheel was. But someone who knows much more about the automobile history than I do wrote to me and said that prior to Henry Ford, who standardized the steering wheel on the left-hand side, most or all of American automobile manufacturers had the steering wheel on the right-hand side. I didn't know that. So that also helps date this because this is, well, let's just say these automobiles were made before Ford standardized the left-hand steering wheel. Why? The subscriber said because it was a safety issue. Ford didn't want passengers getting in and out of the car on the street side, in the street, you see. I don't know, I didn't look it up, but that's what someone told me, so we're going to go with it. Yeah. So they get out on the left-hand side, which is the sidewalk. You're not getting, it makes sense. So thank you, friend subscriber, who told me about that. I'm also going to keep this wonderful mirror from the 1930s. Remember, we were remembering Hodgepodge Lodge a couple of videos ago. Who remembers Romper Room? Now, Hodgepodge Lodge was Miss Jean. Wasn't it Miss Barbara who hosted Romper Room? I don't remember that, but I know that she never saw me in the magic mirror. How many of you were heartbroken when you sat there waiting, poor little things, waiting in front of that television set on the floor to see if Miss whoever it was would call out your name in the magic mirror? I got left out too. I'm still working on this. You forgot about it. Some of you forgot about this. I've had this for what, a year and a half now? And I have fiddled with it and fiddled with it. It's battery operated, and so there's a little light bulb up in there, and there's a little switch right here on the back of the chair. And every time I get it fixed, it's very simple. I mean, there's nothing to the wiring, but there was some rust up in there. I'm just gonna have to rewire the whole thing so that the light will work, because it really is cool when it's lit up, and I don't want to sell it if it's not working properly. So this is still on the workbench. This little, 1960s place where you get your bouffant. At a Goodwill, I bought this. You weren't expecting me to whip out a table, but this wonderful little candle stand, a little end table. Not an end table, just a little. What it is in the 1920s and 30s, when you read all of the old magazines from that era, Good Housekeeping, House Beautiful, The American Home, you'll see lots of editorials debating good taste from bad taste, and what was happening in America at that time after the 1925 Paris Exposition, which we later referred to as the beginning of the popularity of the Art Deco furniture, or modernism. Modernism, of course, was in existence before 1925 in art mostly, but the U.S. we were holding on to this colonial revival. That was supposed to be the epitome of good taste, right? Colonial revival. And if you didn't have a colonial revival traditional interior, you went with modern furniture, and that's what they called it. They didn't call it Art Deco. That's not a term that we used until the 1960s. You would sometimes see the term Art Modern, but usually you would just see modern furniture. There would be scholarship and books written on design where we start to call this style streamline American, but this is still clinging to that, what was considered really good taste colonial revival. It's a 1930s reproduction of a colonial candle stand, if you will, and it is made out of mahogany. You can see here, okay, and there's the top of it with some inlay, a nice inlay design, and some different woods that are used. Very, very typical of sort of the diminutive furniture that was being made. Houses were smaller in the 1920s, especially the 30s, when we are in the depths of the Depression. So we need little tiny, what would be called occasional tables, and this could be moved around. It's short, as you can see, perfect to put next to the big overstuffed club chair. Good place to put an ashtray for everyone, a humidor for everyone smoking their cigars, or your cup of coffee, which I almost just threw all over myself, and which would have been a travesty. So a nice little 1920s table there. I paid $4 at the Goodwill. I have already cleaned it up, beeswaxed it, and I will be putting that little table aside. I'm not sure where I'm going to use it, but I'm going to do something with it. Now, the last thing, and we will wrap this video up. I flipped out when I found these at the flea market last weekend. You know I love electric light fixtures from the 1920s and 30s. Been reading about them, studying about them for years and years and years and years and years. Light fixtures are not that hard to find. Original lampshades are very difficult to find. They just don't survive. They are, it's easily damaged. Lampshades are not really something that people save the way they would glass or pottery and so forth. When a lampshade goes out of style, unless it's put away in storage, it probably is not going to make it. So to find original silk lampshades from the 1930s in the type of condition when you can actually still use them, it doesn't happen very often, believe me. And let me show you what I found. Now the light fixtures I already had. I have a box with a full set of these sconces for either side of the dining room, either side of the mantelpiece, the hallway. These were used all over houses in the 1920s and 30s. So not unusual to find the old light fixtures. But these shades are silk shades, and they actually date to the late 20s into the 1930s. They are the real thing. How do you know? Because I know. I've been fiddling with this type of stuff for years and years, and this is the real thing. They are hand stitched up here. Yes, they did clip on light bulbs just like this. Okay, these are not reproductions. And you may say, well, okay, you found those two lampshades? How did they survive in such good condition and you only found two? No. I didn't only find two. Hold on. You ready? I'm warning you. This is going to be exciting. Very exciting moment. Hang on to the arms of your Barcalounger. One shade was out on the table at the flea market. I picked it up, and the man said, I got a few more of those. I said, you do? Can I see them? Then he goes and pulls out this big box, this wonderful Art Deco box that says Victor on the top. Now that's not the Victor Talking Machine Company in Camden, but we see on this box Victor, Philadelphia, and then it says coats, furs, suits. So this is from a clothing store. Very Art Deco, the label, as you can see. And the address of the person to whom this box was shipped in Villanova, Pennsylvania. So the store was on 1617 Walnut Street. We should walk down there and see what's at 1617 Walnut Street. But you know what's going to happen when I open this box? Oh, this is what's going to happen when I open this box. These lampshades have probably been in this box since they were new. This is probably new, old stock. All of them vintage, late 20s, early 30s silk lampshades. I had a fit. You just never find something like this. Here are the ones that you saw with the sort of the rose and the sage color bands at the top and the bottom, and then there are some others with two more colors of a sage, a light and a dark color sage at the tops and the bottoms, and I couldn't believe it. Now, some of you may say, well, maybe they're from the 60s. They're not from the 60s. This is the real thing. And I flipped out. So not only were they used on wall sconces such as this, but sometimes these would actually be on chandelier lamps and even small table lamps. I'm keeping all of these shades because I never know when I'm going to need them or how I'm going to use them. And so for right now, I don't plan on selling any of them because it's such a rare find to even just find one that survives. You know, these lampshades are almost 100 years old, at least 85 years old. And, you know, I get really excited when I find items that are hard to find from the era that I like the most, which is the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. So that was a real exciting find. I think I covered everything that I wanted to show you today in this long rambling video. Tomorrow is Thursday. It's another big flea market day, but it might be a washout. And if it's a washout, we're just going to go shopping somewhere else. Maybe we'll find an antique mall to go to. And I've had a lot of questions about this wonderful deco lady right back here. I have told you about her. I told you about her last summer when I got her, but a lot of people weren't watching at that time, so I'll be talking about her in an upcoming video as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great evening. I'm Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop saying thanks for watching, and so long for now.